Hey everybody, Mike Toy Bonsai Boise. This is my crabapple tree. I've had this for about 4 years now, and it's pretty overgrown and fluffy looking, so I'm going to give it a trim today. See if I can give you an inside look here. If I can keep this place together. Let's take a look. So here it is when I first got it back in April of 2020. It's kind of a look at the trunk. It's just a regular tree. I still thought it was a good deal. It was like 25 bucks. Didn't do much with it. And then here it is after I trunk chopped it. This is last winter. Here it is about a couple of months ago. I'm starting to leaf out. The first year or two that I had it, it flowered out quite a bit. Bright pink flowers. But once I trunk chopped it, I haven't really let it grow too wild since then, so it hasn't really flowered out too much. The soil that I have it in is pretty organically rich. I'll explain why here in a minute. Here it is as of about a week ago. So I had to move at one point, and I stored this tree at a friend of mine's house over the winter. And so I just potted it up into this soil. I wasn't exactly sure how much watering was going to be done, so I put it in some pretty rich organic soil just because it retains moisture, and it's a little more, I guess I just felt a little safer that way because I wasn't sure what to expect. It did fine. That was also when I trunk chopped it. This was about 2 or 3 years ago, I guess. About 3 years ago. So I trunk chopped it, put it in that old pot with a bunch of organic soil, and kind of like let it go for a while. Since then, I've done a couple of prunes to it. Did one about this time last year, and doing one now. The structure is coming along pretty well, which you'll get a better look at here in a minute once I get past the outer foliage of it all. Yeah, the tree itself I got a good deal on, at least I think. At the time, it was about April of 2020, right when COVID started, I think, or thereabouts. And we just went to Costco, and they had all their garden stuff, and yeah, saw it for $25. I believe that it is grafted, although if it is, you can barely tell anymore. You could almost get away with not being called grafted. I think I just mostly remember from back then that you could see the grafted line pretty clearly, but now you really can't. And we'll get a close up here in a minute so you can see, but you can kind of tell. It just blends together real well. The upper half of the trunk, you can see, is kind of smoother bark there than the bottom half. It's a little clumpier and whatnot. So that's sort of a dead giveaway. But so here it is now that I've got it trimmed down to a respectable size so that we can kind of see the structure a little bit better and start to make some decisions on where to make cuts and where not to. Overall, pros and cons. The pros are, I like the structure. It's got this sort of alternating branch thing going up, the bottom one on the left and the next one on the right, and then the top one on the left there where my hand is now, which is what I like. I don't usually like it when there's, 2 branches on the left side, then one on the right, then one on the left. kind of like it to go every other. So we've got that going. We're starting to get some decent ramification up top. Nothing to write home about yet, but we're getting there. The other pros are that it's very healthy and vigorous and doing great. The cons are that big, ugly scar there on the front. I think at the time that I did the trunk chop, I didn't really have a front picked out yet. So I just sort of did it. And the way things turned out, it ended up being right on the front. So I'm going to guess it's probably 5 or so years before that heals over, maybe more. I mean, it is a big old scar, as you can see. So that's the con. And right now I'm just sort of looking through, kind of figuring out which branches to keep, which ones to remove. That one's kind of long and straight, so I'm going to remove that. It's got a little breeze going, and with that wind going, it's a little hard to kind of keep your eye on one spot. The leaves are dancing around all over. I had hoped to repot it this year. I just didn't have time. But I wanted to repot it into some good bonsai soil and probably even a bonsai pot rather than this kind of old broken training pot. But I just ran out of time. So it's definitely high on the priority list for next spring. I've been putting it off for a couple of years now. One other sort of con to it, and I may just reposition it when I repot it, but that very top branch going off to the left and the right, it's kind of going out at a 90-degree angle straight back. So I don't love that. I can work with it though. As it starts to develop more of a canopy, I can sort of encourage that canopy to, come out front a little bit more, but I don't know if that'll be a good permanent fix. We'll just have to see how it goes. But otherwise, like I said, I love the branching the way it is right now. The bottom one on the left and alternating, another one on the right, and then up top coming off the left side again. It's a cool tree. It's really low maintenance. I prune it once a year. At least I think. Sometimes I'm going through and doing maintenance and I sort of just hack some stuff away if it stands out to me without really thinking about it. But for the most part, I've only really pruned this about once a year. I'm still working on the timing of it. When I first got this tree, I wasn't really sure of timing, and I think I might have pruned either too early or too late a couple of times. And if you don't get the timing right, they sort of get, I don't want to say shell shocked, but they sort of just kind of stop growing for the rest of the year. They don't die or anything like that or die back. They just sort of stop growing. They get shy. But from what I've seen and heard and read, the best time to prune them is right after the flowers have bloomed and fallen off. Yes, there's a better look at it. It's kind of thinned out a bit now and pruned back. I love the Nabari here, all these roots coming off, but check this out. This has always been some of my favorite features, and then whoops, what's happening here? Sort of internally freaking out now, because I don't know why it's doing that. A lot of them seem fine, but like, I don't know, a third of them or so just sort of snap off. I don't know why they're doing that. I don't love it though. But oh well. We can grow new roots. But there you go. You can kind of see the grafting line there, kind of slanting from top right to down left. But it's blended in really well. So that's exactly what I hoped for. So there it is. Now that it's all pruned up, ready for another growing season, I'm just going to let it go wild. I may have to prune it up again, but I doubt it. But thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You see updates on this and other trees. And have a good rest of your day.